Hey everybody, welcome back, Attack. I'm Skyline Short, and today we're going to be taking a first impression at the new mobile game, Game of Summoners. So this is a collecting card game RPG in a sense. Even though it's not quite as much of an RPG as the last card game that we did, it's really got a light story and a light lore to it. A very light background to this game, so nothing too intriguing or nothing too funny or silly. Now, one thing that's really set me off about this game is that a lot of the characters, or maybe it possibly is just the translation, but it seems almost comedic. Okay, so we have a mage card called Lady Gaga. I mean, that's kind of silly. And a lot of the dialogue is just really bland, amateurish, it seems. It's probably due to translation, but overall, it's just nothing really inspired. And I could say that for a lot of these characters, and that's not just the names either, like Lady Gaga. I mean, literally, a lot of these monster cards and these characters look like they took World of Warcraft and obviously League of Legends characters and just cheapified them. None of these characters are really unique or original or anything like that. So for a collecting card game, which almost always is so heavy weighted with its art, this game just kind of feels light. There's nothing really there to that. But let's talk about some of the mechanics to the gameplay, because this is a video game. Okay, so basically it's a collecting card game, and you are going through these different challenge modes and like a little story. Yeah, very linear. You got to go through these challenges, kind of similar to Angry Birds or a lot of mobile games where you can complete it, base completion, and then you also have a 3-star system where you have 1-star, 2-star, 3-star completion. However, unlike Angry Birds, you have to actually fight the single challenge 3 times in order to get all 3 stars, which I really dislike. Almost every single time, I think almost 100% of the time, I'll beat all 3 challenges, but it'd only give me 1 star, so I'd have to go and beat it in 2 star. In no time during my gameplay, which is about 2 hours long, did I ever feel like I was ever close to losing. This is an extremely casual game, and there is no point in really grinding at all, I guess, other than just to keep up with the game and to just keep playing it, but there's no point because literally you're not going to be rewarded for anything. Okay, a little off topic, let's go right back to the base mechanics here. Okay, so you are deck building. Okay, so you are completing challenges to get cards for deck building. Not only that, but there is a more noteworthiness to the grinding than just getting cards, which is notoriously grindy. I mean, if we played Hearthstone, yeah, it's kind of grindy to get the cards without paying. But this game wants you to evolve those cards too. So whenever you get a card, it seems extremely lackluster, really not worth the time investment in-game or whatever, just to get the card at all. So you get these cards, and you have to actually evolve them. You get one evolution kind of like for free. Basically, you get a lot of gold, and you get a lot of this white crystal really easily, and you can evolve those cards quickly, and you only have like a 10 card or 10 deck slot, so you're not having many cards in these battles, and they're extremely fast, so you don't need many cards. But still, in order to get the absolute highest edge that you can have, you need to spend money, which is a little bit tragic. It is a pay-to-win game, and normally that's not a problem. Okay, normally that isn't a problem in a card collecting game, but in this game, you actually have a stamina bar, and that's something I feel is really distasteful, and it's so prevalent in freemium, Facebook, and mobile games, web browser games, where you have either labor points or they're called stamina points, where you can't do actions infinitely. You have a limited number of times you can do a certain something. Either if that's dungeon running or going to the PvP, attacking different people, or doing certain challenges, whatever. In this game, you have labor points. So every time you are doing a challenge or an arena or whatever, you're going to use labor points. So you can't play this game as much as you would like. You have to have your friends give you more stamina if they have some left over, or you have to purchase them for money. And that's just not fun. If there's going to be a free game, it should be free. It basically is a subscription, essentially. I mean, if you wanted to play this game hardcore and just actually grind and play it, and a lot of people do enjoy that kind of game style, you can't do that in this game. So everything about this game wants you to grind, and yet they punish you. And you're going to feel that way if you play this game. If you actually try to play this game, you're going to feel barrier after barrier after barrier. You learn maybe some new mechanic or something cool, and that's how I felt. I felt like, oh yeah, there's actually a little bit of depth here. There's actually a good game hidden beneath all the bullshit. So the interesting game mechanics I felt were that you can actually switch the positions of your cards, and the positions of the cards on the board actually matter. So similar to Scrolls, you are going to have a row-based gameplay. Now, this is actually a really prevalent game mechanic that we see in a lot of new card games. They're kind of taking on mechanics from board games like chess, checkers, where they're taking cards, and the actual board and the layout of the cards matters. So in this game, there's only 3 versus 3 rows, and you just attack across from that. The cards have really basic health and really basic abilities. A lot of cards don't even have any sort of special abilities, so it's a very, very simple and dumbed down game with some slight mechanics to make it interesting, because you can switch around cards, and certain abilities attack certain other creatures on the board, and then of course you can attack the opponent directly with their own HP. Now this is where I want to talk about the grinding again, because your character actually has levels, and yes, you do have a character similar to, I guess, a class like in Hearthstone, where they can have their own abilities. However, in this game, it actually works like I don't know, an RPG character. You actually gain health, you actually gain powers, and you can become stronger yourself. You can actually get more HP than your opponent. And there is PvP in this game, keep that in mind. So, this is completely unfair. And if you spend money, then you can just complete the game and get higher on the leaderboards, okay? And this is where the game, I think, is really cheap and where I have a real big problem with it. If you click the arena, the PvP really isn't player versus player. It's more like you actually making decisions and fighting against someone else's deck. They don't have any decision making whatsoever. So, similar to older Zenonia titles, and a ton of card games and pseudo PvP titles on mobile, you're not actually fighting players. It's just their decks, it's just their characters, it's just their whatever, their account. You're not actually fighting them, and I think that's a huge tragedy, absolute turnoff. You know, it took me an hour to even get to the arena. It seriously took me that long to even get into the game, actually, and I still haven't unlocked the full game, and I've been playing for 2 hours, and I think that's just so drastic. I hate it. This game, it really represents the mobile market, where they have really high quality graphics and it seems like really nice polish, and they introduce mechanics so slowly that maybe potentially you are fooled into thinking that this is maybe a good game. Spend like a quick buck or maybe $5 to get to the actual full game, but in the end, when you get there, there's nothing more. It's just more and more barriers, more and more limitations for you to spend money to break through. Because now you're a serious player, now you've spent money, now you're committed, and hey, maybe you'll get hooked. That's how these games work, and I hate that. So this is one of those games, it lies to you with its polish, it lies to you with its art, and overall, it looks really good, okay? It's one of those games that looks good as an advertisement. When you finally truly get into it, please trust me guys, I played it. When you finally get into the game, it's really not worth it. It's not worth the investment. I mean, for instance, all the cards are essentially copies of each other, and then you can evolve them, and of course, there's a little bit of differentiation there, but it's not like they're going to gain any abilities, they just get better stats. You're just spending money just to go through the game. There's no true content here whatsoever that you can't get from somewhere else. There's even better free-to-play games out there that's pay to win. They're just straight up, there are better pay-to-win games than this. It's just so obvious where they cut corners, and it's so obvious the barriers and limitations that they put on it, because underneath all those barriers, underneath all the pay-to-win mechanics, underneath everything that stops you from having fun, okay, there's actually a symbiote of maybe a good game. There really is. But of course, they did that on purpose, to lure you in, try to make money. But that's it! Now, I love mobile games, I really do, and this is one that I do not love. So, that's what I have to say about this game. This was Game of Summoners. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Skylin Shore with Attack Gaming. I'm going to try to be as honest as always, and hopefully you like and subscribe for that, and come back again soon.
So thanks for watching. Be sure to leave this video a like, subscribe. You can find us on Twitter. _ Mark McDonald, NWC
No one wants to hear that shit.
No, they want to hear it. This is the first time they've made it all.
Maybe they do. No one wants to hear it. Everyone's like, oh, that was a really cool video. And then at the end, they're like, don't forget to subscribe. And everyone's like, oh, come on.
I tweet essentially to an open, empty room.